Um, I am a mother of two boys, so you kind of have to allow yourself to be. And a military wife, which doubly so has to allow you to be. As far as my writing style goes, it's a little different. I tend to find a lot of notes in the margins from my editor about certain sentences being outdated or not the way that like normal people talk, so to speak. So it's definitely interesting.
So when did you know you were destined to be a writer?
I didn't. I didn't ever intend to like be a writer professionally. I mean, like I dreamed about it, of course. Who doesn't if they write in their free time? But I actually worked as an editor for a publishing house, and all of a sudden they found that a story that was supposed to be in an anthology of theirs was too long. They wanted to make it into its own novel, and they found themselves in need of stories and requested that I send something in for consideration.
Well, that's exciting. So what books or authors strengthened or influenced this decision?
I'm not really sure. I think any author I ever wrote. I'm definitely a big fan of Nora Roberts and her versatility in writing, especially between the romance novels, and she writes under a pseudonym of J.D. Robb, and that is very inspirational because she really taps into a lot of different writing styles.
So are you currently working on a project?
I am. I'm currently working on 3 projects. The main one that I'm working on is a love story. It's called Unequivocally Yours, and it was actually submitted to my editing department last week.
Interesting enough, that does have a funny story behind the title of that one. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I got it from thesaurus.com. Not the full title, of course. Originally, it was supposed to be called Love Something Fierce. However, the short story that I wrote for the anthology I already mentioned ended up being titled that instead. Since that piece was kind of written on the fly, I had to kind of pull from things I already had written.
So you work with a publishing house.
Yes, I do. I work for Renaissance Romance Publishing. They're a new company, up and coming though. We've actually brought on a lot of new authors recently, and they are always looking for more.
Can you tell us a little about the novel that you're working on?
Um, it's an interesting perspective. It's actually written from the woman's perspective to begin with, the main character, Elise, and then it is actually taken over by the male lead characters for the majority of the novel, and it's kind of his falling in love all over again, like rechasing after the main female character by reliving like memories that he found in some of her old journals.
Aw, so will your editors let us get a little sneak peek of that?
They will, except it is in editing currently, so the draft that I read may not be what's in the final.
We won't tell anybody.
Don't tell. They already know. Yeah, give me just a second. Okay, so I have to read off of my own stuff here. But anyways, this is actually a good ways into the novel already, and it's actually one of the journal excerpts written by the main female character. I always thought that I would know when the time to say goodbye had finally arrived. I already knew he was leaving. He already knew it too. Hell, we both knew it would be upon us sooner than we'd thought, but it was supposed to still be 3 days off. I hadn't known that tonight was going to be the night. Would I have gone over there if I knew that we were going to say our goodbyes? No, that's stupid. He said his goodbye, but I didn't want any part of it. Really, he didn't much want to hear mine either, I guess. I wish I could force the knowledge of how I feel about him into his head. I mean, I love you only goes so far. And yeah, he'll be in Texas, but really, making out last year to see Dad was hard enough. He's going to be busy nonstop, and I know that. I don't know. I didn't want tonight to have been goodbye. It won't be goodbye. I won't let it. I don't know how, but I'm going to see him again before he leaves, to explain to him the unbelievable amount that I'm going to miss him, how I'll wait for his visits back home, since it will probably be him coming here long before I'd be able to make it out there. I'm going to give him a proper kiss goodbye, and I'm going to damn well make sure the last thing I say to his face is I love you. Unequivocally yours, Elise.
So love is a recurring theme in all of your work, or just this one?
Um, in a sense, it is in all of my work. Not necessarily romantic love. There's always a sense of love. My first published piece, Love Something Fierce, had a love between like a mother and her daughter. There's always like a strong sense of family, and as well as the love that you experience for friends when they get you through various, obstacles in life.
Unequivocally Yours bears a startling resemblance to your relationship with your husband. How much of your writing is based on fantasy and how much is actually rooted in reality?
Well, only about 80% is fiction. The other 20% is actually a lot of real life, which is kind of a hefty chunk, I guess, when you look at it that way. One of the prime examples of this, aside from Unequivocally Yours and some of the relationship obstacles, is in Love Something Fierce, which is already published, the character names. There's a character named Celie, and there's a character named Hope, and Celie plays the best friend of the main character, and the character himself actually has a personality resembling that of my boys' godfather. He's very laid back, very funny, but can be of great assistance and help in the moment. And Celie was actually the name that we had chosen for our youngest son prior to realizing that it wasn't the right name, so to speak. And had our younger son been a girl, Hope would have been his middle name.
So, with all of this, how do you find time to stay committed to your writing with a family and a husband?
It's hard. It's really, really hard. Generally, I designate some time at the end of the day, after the kids are in bed. If my husband's home, like, he has to be engrossed in a video game or doing something else, a book, a video game, something that's not, like, going to require my attention. And at that time, like, if he's playing a video game, we hang out in the same room, so we're still at least together to get that time in. But I have my headphones in. I generally try to write for at least a straight hour at a time. Here lately, that has not been happening. And, like I said, it's hard, but I mean, once I got into it with the first piece, finding time to stay committed to my other pieces has certainly been a lot easier, especially with Unequivocally Yours, which was originally written during National Novel Writing Month last year, and is now going on to be published.
Oh, looks like a big year. Big year coming up for you.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thanks for coming and talking to us, and that's all the time we've got. Bye, guys.